So if you watched the last video, I had popular fragrances that I hated. Now today, hated fragrances that I love. Hey fragrance family, I'm Dave and I'm a fragrance bro. Of course, your best source for everything fragrance related. Today I have a video about hated fragrances that I love. Now, if you haven't watched my last video, definitely go and check it out. I think you'll really like it. There are some fragrances out there that are really polarizing. A lot of people might hate them, but sometimes I really like them. I love how individual scents are. I love the journey that everyone has with fragrances. And sometimes I just like being a contrarian. You already knew that though. So today we're gonna be talking about fragrances that I love that people hate. And you know, if you hate these for a reason, I'd love to know your thoughts down below. We can agree to disagree, that's fine. And of course, if you like these scents, definitely go check out a playlist up here. I have deeper thoughts about a lot of these scents. I have reviews of many of these here, so definitely go check out the playlist up here. First one on the list, what am I gonna say? What's the first one? Yeah. Aventus. So Aventus is the first one, Aventus by Creed. And this is one that I say people hate because it is hated by a lot of different people, but it is also really loved. It's just a polarizing scent overall. I personally love it. And I understand why people hate it because it is just one of those popular type of scents. It is a scent that is copied to death, really. A lot of copies just aren't good. Some people can't smell it like Creed intends. Sometimes people say that it's being watered down. There's talk about batch variations, and maybe people just don't like the scent in general. There's a million different reasons why people don't like Aventus, but I love it. I love everything about it. I love the pineapple, citrusy apple thing at the top. I love how dark and smoky and leathery the base is. I love the dry down so much with that ambergris, musky thing. To me, it's just very masculine and powerful. I love it. Next is Sauvage. Yep. Sauvage is a fragrance, again, that I understand why people hate, just because it is another one that's very popular, and it is a very simple style of fragrance. It is citrus and ambroxan and a little bit of spice and a little bit of maybe patchouli or something else going on in there. There's not a lot to this scent. What I really like about it, though, is that there was nothing like it at the time that it came out, and it is very likable. I think it's very pleasant, and even though it does have ambroxan in it, I do not agree with some of the detractors of this scent who think it just smells like ambroxan. I kind of question if they've smelled ambroxan to start with. It does smell musky, but that's what I like about it. It is a very rich style musky scent with some citruses on there, and I think it is very masculine. It is very popular. That's kind of one of its downsides, but I like a lot. All right, next is Baccarat Rouge 540. This is one that I have a mixed feeling about because when I first smelled this, I was blown away by how it smelled. It smelled so unique. I like how it is in this kind of in-between space. It has this kind of burnt sugary type of thing on one hand, this kind of woody thing, this ambergris-like thing. I loved it. Then all the clones came out and I didn't like it as much. I smelled this scent on a lot of different people and they were never wearing Baccarat Rouge 540. They were always wearing something else. In one way, that's kind of a compliment for Baccarat Rouge 540. It was a trendsetter. On the other hand, everyone's wearing it. But I still love it. If you can get the extrait version at a good price, I think that's the far better version. But I still think it's one of those fragrances that did something really brilliant and stuck the landing. So yeah, good job. Next is Viking Cologne by Creed. This is another one that was immediately hated whenever it first came out. I don't really know why it was hated as much as it was. I know some people seem to fall in two camps. Either they liked the original Viking and didn't like this one, or vice versa. I'm vice versa. I didn't like the original version and I like this one a lot. I like the orangey type of scent at the top. I like the kind of oak moss thing in the middle, and the kind of musky, woody thing that it has. I think it's just a good scent overall, and I've worn it a lot. This is just one of those scents by Creed that I think is a real winner from them. To me, it's not like a top-tier fragrance by Creed, but it's still one that I like a lot. And I didn't get rid of it. I kept mine because I wore it a lot, and I still like it a lot. Next is Anything by Parfums de Marly. I'm, again, another fanboy of Parfums de Marly. I have a few scents by them, and I really like them. I especially like Herod and Sedley and Greenlee. I think those are really good. They have other ones that are really good as well. Parfums de Marly gets a lot of dislike, I guess, because they make really accessible style fragrances that are easy to like. And sometimes that kind of go into a direction that are similar to other fragrances, but they're not really copying them. And this is a kind of misconception that they're copying or cloning fragrances, with the exception of Godolphin, which smells maybe like Tuscan leather. I've never smelled a fragrance from them that I thought, oh, this is just a clone of XYZ. I can see connections to fragrances. I can see maybe themes or maybe notes that kind of remind me of other fragrances, but never an outright clone. I really like Parfums de Marly. I love their bottles. I think their scents are very well done. They smell expensive and they last a long time and they're really powerful. So yeah, I like Parfums de Marly a lot. Next is Old Spice. Yes, the OG Old Spice from the bottle. I love that scent. It's not one that I wear, but I still have a lot of fond memories of Old Spice. It was one scent that my dad gave me when I was really a young kid. It brings back a lot of fond memories. I like the kind of spicy cinnamon thing that it has. It kind of goes into almost a bay rum territory, but not at the same time. I like it a lot. I think it's a really excellent fragrance for what it is, for something that you can find for just a few dollars at the drugstore. I think it's really good. Next is Sarah Jessica Parker Lovely. Now this is one that is a celebrity style fragrance, and this is a fragrance that kind of proves a lot of people wrong about the generic quality of celebrity type of fragrances. I believe that Sarah Jessica Parker was pretty involved in the making of this, at least according to the story, The Perfect Scent by Chandler Burr. I think it's an amazing book, by the way. It has a nice mixture of notes with kind of a floral type of feminine style scent, and then mixed with like this cool incensey type of thing. Overall, I think it's a pretty good scent that I actually like quite a bit. Next along with that is Un Jardin sur le Nil by Hermès. This is one that is not really hated by a lot of people, but man, sometimes it really is hated by some people. Typically, the criticisms that it gets are that it just doesn't last a long time. And some people don't get the scent to start with. They think it smells like vegetables or something. But this one is supposed to smell like mangoes, like green, unripened mangoes fresh from the vine. Once you get that in your head, you can smell it right away. To me, I don't necessarily understand the criticism of hating a fragrance just because it doesn't last a long time. I just think that's kind of a weird reason to hate a fragrance that is not supposed to last a long time on purpose, but you're hating it because it doesn't last a long time. And this is not beast mode on me. It lasts maybe 6 hours, and I'm okay with that. It's a scent that I wore when my daughter was born. I love this scent, so yeah. Haters, go away. Next is Azzaro Chrome. Some people hate this. I wouldn't say that this is hated, but this is one that I think is a very inexpensive scent that doesn't get a lot of love that I do really still like. I used to have a friend that wore this a lot, and it smelled great on him. And so every time I smell this, it reminds me of that friend. It's one that I really can't wear because it seems like I'm wearing someone else's scent. It's an older scent that I think is kind of past its prime, but still, I think it's a great scent. Next is Dior Homme Cologne. Now, Dior Homme Cologne necessarily isn't the most hated fragrance out there, but I think it's one that most people just don't get. It's a very simple fragrance that has almost no connection with the original Dior Homme, and I think that's one cause of the dislike of the scent. But it is a very simple citrusy scent that I think is beautiful. It has a beautiful bergamot and lemon type of thing with a musky dry down. I think it's one of the best fresh scents out there. It is gorgeous. Next is Sova by Slumber House. Slumber House is a fragrance house that I love. I love everything they do, but it's also misunderstood by a lot of people. It has a lot of notes that I think just make it kind of weird compared to other fragrances out there. On top of that, it's very limited a lot of times, which means that not a lot of people can get these whenever they want them. So because of that, it's caused a lot of kind of ire in the fragrance community with people who would like to try this but can't, and so they just resorted to hating it. I understand your frustrations, but this scent in particular is amazing, and a lot of scents by Slumber House are just incredible, so definitely check them out. Don't discount them just because you can't find them, so definitely hunt them down for sure if you can. Sova is just one of the most beautiful fall scents in particular. It's amazing. Next is Imaginary Authors Sundrunk. Sundrunk is a fragrance that they came out with a couple of years ago, and it is a very fresh grapefruit scent with rhubarb, honeysuckle. It's a beautiful scent. It's one of my favorites from Imaginary Authors. But again, this is another one that's very fleeting. Because it's fleeting, and because it's citrusy, and because it's Imaginary Authors for some reason, there is this kind of hatred of the scent, and in some ways, Imaginary Authors in general with some people. But Sundrunk to me is just a beautiful, fresh scent that I think is just one of the best. It's great. Next is Anything by Atelier Cologne, especially Orange Sanguine, but anything else from Atelier Cologne. Atelier Cologne is a fragrance house that makes their fragrances in the style of traditional eau de colognes, but they make an increased concentration, so a lot of their fragrances are in the citrusy realm. You'll see a lot of different variations and riffs on the citrusy type of scent, And I love it. That's exactly what I want. Again, I'm not a type of person who really discounts a fragrance just because it has maybe limited performance or limited lifespan on your skin. I think that's kind of useful in some cases. So for me, I actually really like that out of Atelier Cologne. I find all the fragrances to be very beautiful, but again, I love everything by Atelier Cologne. It's just one house that people hate that I just really love. So yeah, Atelier Cologne. Next is Voyage d'Hermès by Hermès, and this is another fragrance that kind of falls into that kind of cologne category that is lighter and simpler, and some people just don't like. What I love about Voyage d'Hermès is that it's so easy to wear. It's a citrusy scent that has musky qualities in there and a little bit of, tiny bit of spice and wood, and has almost like this bleachy chlorine type of accord in there that I love. I think it's beautiful. It doesn't last as long as heavy hitters out there. It's a Jean-Claude Ellena fragrance. And so a lot of times he's kind of minimalistic in the way that he makes his fragrances. It's a very linear, simple, simplistic even type of fragrance. I love that about it, but some people really hate that. Next is Frapan Luministe. Now this is a fragrance that is very popular with Frapan. Typically the reasoning for the hate about this fragrance is that they love the scent, but it only lasts 2 hours on them tops or something like that. And again, to me, that doesn't really bother me. It lasts longer than that on me. It lasts a decent amount of time on me, but I love how rich, boozy, and fruity, almost like a cocktail, citrusy type of scent this is. It is absolutely just gorgeous. I don't care how long it lasts. I mean, I enjoy the ride from start to finish. It is just beautiful. And last is Poivre Samarcand by Hermès from the Hermessence line. Now, this is another one that really caused a lot of people to hate just because some people get like a taco type of smell from this, or even like body odor, a BO type of smell. And I understand that. What's funny is I initially got that as well whenever I first smelled it. But then someone talked about how it had caraway in there. And then whenever someone said that, my just kind of paradigm shifted and I started smelling caraway in this. And so now every time I smell it, it just smells like spicy rye bread. And I love that. This is a super spicy, woody scent that I adore. A decant of this was given to me by the late Carlos from Brooklyn Fragrance Lovers, and I cherish this little decant. It's a fragrance that I love and I would love to wear, but I think that other people might think that I smell like BO, and so sometimes I'm a little gun shy about wearing it. Even though I love the scent, I'm kind of afraid that other people will think that I haven't bathed that day or something. So I just hardly ever wear this. With that, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Fragrance X. Fragrance X is an online reseller that sells thousands of legitimate products for a discounted cost. If you're considering buying a fragrance, definitely check out Fragrance X. I'll have a link down below to them as well as a coupon. But also check out Rakuten.com. Rakuten.com is a website that offers you a rebate with every purchase that you make through their website. They actually have a deal with Fragrance X that offers you a certain percentage in rebates just by buying through Rakuten. So I'll have a link down below to them as well. Definitely check out Fragrance X and Rakuten together. Great. So that's all I have. What do you think? I'd love to know some of your suggestions here. What are some fragrances that people hate that you love? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I love you for it. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with the Fragrance Bros.